Awesome. So we are talking about the 3 hardest Hyrox stations today. Um, we released a survey to the Hyrox community, and a little over 400 people answered that survey to figure out which 3 stations they thought were the hardest. So this isn't our opinion. This is the feedback from that survey, and I think on comments after we put out some of the data, a lot of people agreed. Some people didn't, but obviously it's not going to be universal. But yeah, that's what we're going to cover today.
We definitely did get a lot of comments on the Facebook groups when we shared the article into the groups like that. And the Hyrox groups on Facebook are really active, which is cool. It's a really cool community. People are always sharing tips and their experience through, the different events that they do, which is cool. But yeah, for the most part, I would say in the comments that most people agreed with it. Some people would take one of the 3 out of there and put in something else. Other people would say something completely different that, one person said the ski erg is the worst thing for them. And it's like, well, I don't know. That might be just a lack of experience using the ski erg, because if you haven't used one before and you go ahead into a competition and do 1,000 meters, yeah, it's going to suck real bad. Yeah. Some people, for whatever reason, that could be your hardest one. That's just a little surprising to me. But so yeah, we did get a little bit of variety, but I think for the most part, the 3 that people were voted on is pretty universal. So
I don't think they're very surprising answers, and people can comment on the video and let us know if they agree, disagree, whatever. But we're going to go from 3rd to 1st. So number 3, as voted by, I think, 410 Hyrox people, was sandbag lunges.
Yep. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I've done plenty of lunges in my training just because it's great exercise. So that to me was not that challenging. For me, just because I've done a lot of them, I can see how with the clients that I train, they're really tough, and it is a difficult exercise, especially with the sandbag on your back, and you're not allowed to set it down, which is a very big factor. So I can see that. I can't think of one that I would replace it with. When I did New York, I struggled more with the farmer's carry because I had to set it down a lot, which was really surprising to me because I do a lot of farmer's carries, but I wouldn't say the farmer's carry is harder than the lunges. It's just simpler to me, I think. So
I did think that they would be harder than they were, but they certainly weren't easy. And I think part of it is you're in the middle of a race where you've already used your legs for running and pushing and pulling and stuff. So your legs are probably already tired, and then having to lunge that many times in a row with weight is challenging. So it makes sense. All right, very quickly, what if you could only choose one thing to do besides sandbag lunges themselves to train for it, what would you do?
To train for lunges besides doing lunges?
Well, you could still put in a variation of lunge, just you just can't use the exact thing itself to train for it. So give another variation that people can use.
Bulgarian split squats.
That's a good one.
Yeah, those are really good for everybody should do Bulgarian split squats unless you have some knee issues or something like that, because it's such a great exercise. Really targets the glutes specifically, and quads too. So yeah, I would say adding in those.
Cool. That's a good one. All right, number 2 on the list is wall balls. Again, I don't think this is very surprising, and it coincides with the last one where it's a very high repetition movement with weight. Even though the weight's not super heavy, it's still a lot of reps. So here it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would have put this as first because I've done plenty of wall balls too, leading up to New York in June, I think it was. I didn't train specifically for that event, but I definitely did sprinkle in a lot of the Hyrox zones into my training. So I did a decent amount of wall balls leading up to it. And in the workouts I did, compared to the event, it felt completely different. During the event, my heart rate was just like, it would not come down. And then it was my arms. My arms were just absolutely fried. And I had a plan of doing like 10 to 15, taking like 10 or 15 seconds and repeating that. And it just like, I couldn't focus. It was a disaster. So I would have put wall balls as my least favorite and the most difficult, partially just because it's at the very end. So you're already pretty toasted from everything, but also it's just a tiring thing to do.
Yep. Yeah, I agree completely with the arm and shoulder fatigue. I put that in the article. If you, like, I had only done a very little amount of wall ball training leading up to that event, so it like my shoulders just flew up. So it's tough. It's a tough movement for 100 reps overall. For this one, okay, so if there were an exercise I would do if I just didn't have the ball or whatever, the facility to do wall balls, I would do dumbbell thrusters as a replacement because you're getting the squat and you're getting the overhead press. So that would be a great way to train for it. It's not quite exactly the same, but you're at least getting the same muscles working and getting strengthened.
Yeah, I think adding in a lot of push presses as well is a good idea because the ball for the men's pro is, I think, only 20 pounds. And so that's not a heavy squat at all, even if your legs are tired. So if you're just holding the ball doing squats, that's not that difficult. It's the amount of fatigue on your arms. So doing a push press is going to simulate that.
Yep. Yep. All right. Number one on the list. I think I probably would have put wall ball number one for me also, but not surprisingly, this is very close for me. And again, not surprising for anyone, burpee broad jumps was number one on this list. And I think mostly because people hate it. I don't know many people, if any people, who like burpees, much less burpees with an added jump. It is very tiring. And the rules have you require you to do it a certain way. It's not complicated or more challenging. It's just specific. So I'm not surprised that burpee broad jumps are number one.
Yeah, I think out of the three, that's the one that everybody agreed on the most. The wall balls and the lunges seem to be ones that people would kind of switch out with some of the other zones. But yeah, I think the burpee broad jumps really surprised me because I think that's part of the reason why I had to set down the farmer's carry so much. It wasn't my grip necessarily, but my shoulders. My shoulders were just so fatigued. Same with the wall balls. So I think the burpee broad jumps, I do a ton of burpees too. That's just something I do a lot of. And I don't mind burpees either. I can kind of daydream while I'm doing them. So during the event, it didn't seem like it was that taxing. But I think after I finished them, it had a lot more of a negative impact than I expected.
Yeah, I actually never went back and looked at my time in zone. So I'd be curious to see that. I do remember like catching my breath on the back half of them between jumps because I was just tired from it. Yeah. Okay. So in the article, I wrote something specific for this movement. That's what would you do if it wasn't burpee broad jumps? What would you have people do? Let's just say in some fictitious world, the person couldn't do burpee broad jumps to train for it. What would you have them do?
I mean, I think about that a little bit. If it wasn't some other type of burpee or something like that, I mean, it would kind of have to be a combination of exercises because a burpee is a combination of exercises. I mean, dumbbell snatches are great because you're getting the upper body involved there, but it's a lot of that posterior power. When you're jumping, you're using a lot of your hamstrings, quads, glutes, and all that in an explosive way. That's kind of what a dumbbell snatch would simulate, that same type of taxing on those muscles, but I'd have to think about that a little bit. What did you have?
Well, so in the article, I was like, don't even bother doing anything else for this because really, like, I cannot think of another exercise that would even remotely prepare you for it because like if you just did push-ups, great, you're doing the pushing portion from the bottom, but that's not standing all the way up and that's not jumping forward again. So it could help a little bit, maybe bear crawls, just because it gets your whole body incorporated, but still you're not getting up and you're not jumping. So for me, there's no good alternative or great alternative. Something like what we mentioned would still be good, but yeah, this one, like in the article I said, you got no other choice. Just do it and get good at it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think for anybody, if you break down the movements a little bit, that would probably help. If you're a beginner and you're just not very good at moving through burpees, then you could do box jumps or just broad jumps by themselves. You could do mountain climbers. You could do push-ups by themselves. So just kind of breaking down, you could do inchworms. So just breaking down the movements so that you're hitting those muscles. So if you're somebody who's not very good at them, you can build up the strength to do them. But that's also going to be beneficial for somebody who's a higher level athlete as well, because then they're going to become more efficient at those movements. So anybody could really break them down. I mean, like sliders, if you ever do those, like knee tucks and mountain climbers on those, that would be a good way to hit those same muscles, but just more specifically to portions of the whole burpee broad jump movement.
Ooh, I just thought of the TRX atomic push-up. That would be somewhat similar. Okay. That's an option. There you go.
Push-ups on the sliders, same thing.
Yep.
Hitting those same muscles in an explosive way. So yeah, that'd be a really beneficial way to build up and improve your performance on those.
Nice. All right, that's it. Those are the top three. If you have the same opinion or a differing opinion, feel free to throw it in the comments. We'd love to argue with you about it. And
people who thinks the ski erg is the hardest, well, I don't know. Good luck.
All right, very quickly, with no explanation, which is the easiest of all of them, including running? Running is on the board because it's a huge part of the race.
Ski erg.
See, I think the rower is the easiest of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, either the ski erg or the rower, it's the same in my mind as far as like which one's easier, because I do a lot of them. So
cool. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe, and if you like the video, that'd be awesome too.
See ya.